Have you moved to the US from another country? Maybe an amazing country like Brazil? Today I'm really excited to have Estefania Barsante join me all the way from the San Francisco Bay Area where I live to talk about adapting to the US, especially as an expat from Brazil. Welcome to the Expat Woman Show. My name is Nyna Caputi. I'm the founder and CEO of the Expat Woman, the host of this show, and also a LinkedIn coach. And I am very excited to have Estefania join me. She is an HR coach and also a founding member of my membership, the Expat Woman. And she has a very inspiring, interesting background. So I'm actually going to have Estefania talk a little bit more about what she does and also your journey from Brazil to the US. What brought you here? Welcome, Estefania. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Nina. Hi, everyone. Very excited to be here to share my experience. So, I'm Estefania, and I've been deciding which is my niche of coaching. So, I have a degree in psychology and counseling back in Brazil, and I moved to coaching. And I actually work with people with major life or career transitions. So, I'm a transition coach.
Mm.
And I've been living in the US for the past 5 years, almost six now. And I do feel like the US, especially California now, is my home. So I'm excited to talk more about it and maybe help people that are still struggling with the adaptation phase, or even having a life and having a fulfilling life and career abroad.
Fantastic. And yeah, I know that sometimes niching down is difficult when you have a lot of interest and a lot of expertise. So that's great that you're looking at, or you've kind of zeroed in on what you want to do. And, for people who are watching this virtually, Estefania actually spoke this month at last month, we're in July
Last month.
already. Yeah, she was a speaker at our in-person event in San Francisco and did a fantastic job of talking about finding home in another country and shared some very strategic tips. And I also wanted to give you a shout out because you said it was the first time you were speaking on a microphone, and now you're speaking on a microphone virtually as well. And I think all that comes with adaptability and being open to transition and making up your mind to try new experiences and just do it, right? So
Yeah.
you mentioned you've been here 6 years, you found your home here, which is awesome because I've been here 20, almost 21 years. I still haven't. I like living here, but I still feel I haven't found home. So let's start with finding home. What did it just happen organically, or did you do certain things to make you adapt and decide this is how I can make the US, and now because you live in the Bay Area, this
Mhm.
home? What did you do?
Mhm. So how I made the US my home.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
it wasn't organically, in a sense that I didn't let things go by. I was very intentional about it. So from the start, like my first year here, I came as a trailing spouse. So my husband had his coworkers, his career. I already worked as a coach, so I worked from home.
Mm.
And that made difficult for me to feel like I was living in the US because I was on Zoom meetings all the time. Uh, but from the first year, what I did is I started getting out of my bubble. So I started a 1 year coaching program where 85% of the people were Americans. Then I started a community here for women, Brazilian women abroad. Then the pandemic hit, and I did um, all kinds of meetups and events and connecting with people. And especially after the pandemic, I made a commitment with myself that I would have close friends, because this was something that was missing after 4 years here. And then I had a weekly goal that at least, well, no, monthly goal, at least 3 times a month, I would connect and go out with an acquaintance or with a friend. And that made 1 year and a half later, me and my husband, we threw a birthday party for him, and we had 20 good friends coming over. So it was really strategic, especially on the social part of things.
Wow.
And I think that the social part is what made here feel like home. Because everything else you learn, like the bank account, DMV, and the bureaucratic, but the social part is what makes us belong. And was very strategic from the beginning.
That is a huge, valuable tip, Estefania. Thank you for sharing that because you're right. Everything else you can do, but I think it's having close friends, not acquaintances, but close friends that make you feel, okay, I belong here. I loved how you went about it and you treated it like a career goal, right? And I think that's what many of us fail to do. We think, oh, we'll just make friends, it'll somehow happen, maybe, at our kids' school or at some networking event, but you went out of your way. I guess it's in some ways like when you want to get married and you're not meeting the right guy, and then you go onto online dating sites. You say, I'm going to meet so many guys this month, and then
Yeah.
it eventually happens. So thanks for sharing that. Isabella, one of our members of the Expat Woman, has joined us. She says, hello ladies, good to be here with you. Hi Isabella, and jump into the comments if you want to add something or ask Estefania a question. The difference between an audio event and a LinkedIn live, which is what we're doing right now on YouTube live, is we can't bring people up on stage. So you have to ask your questions in the comments. So let's talk about, go back a step and talk about how did you prepare for your move from Brazil to the US? Again, I know you're a very strategic person, so I love hearing how you break things up. So go ahead.
So I didn't prepare a lot, in a sense that what I did was I came here on the vacation previously. So 6 months prior, I came here because I've never been to the area. My husband had, because the headquarters of his job is here. So he had been here. I didn't. And I said, I won't move to a place that I've never been. No, it's a no no. So we came, and then when we came here, we looked at some possible places to live, in a sense that we drove by the area because we knew where we would be located. And we connected with some of his co-workers just to see how was their experience, etc., but not very intentionally, because we it was really quick, because my husband, he applied for a transfer here. So once we were back from this vacation, uh, I give him the green light, and then he applied, and very quickly he was approved, and then we moved. So it was in a 4 month span, so it was really quick. um, when I came here, that I did some past preparation, and one thing that really made a difference was reading a book about American culture. So I read some books that didn't matter, but there is this one book that is called The American Ways, that really uh, breaks down some American habits, some beliefs, and tell us why they happen. So
Mhm.
this, with getting to know the area prior, I think helped me um, understand and prepare. But I feel like there are some things that you cannot prepare. You can imagine how things will gonna be, but you do have to live it. You have to feel it for it to make sense.
Right. No, I love that. I love that you did some preparation for your move here, and you found a book. As you said, there's it can be overwhelming, right? When you move to a country and you have to do all this research, and after a while, it's like it's too much. But uh, yeah, so maybe we'll have you share the book, and I see we have and sometimes it doesn't show the name. It says LinkedIn user here, but obviously someone who knows you because she says I'm so glad to be here and hear valuable tips from Estefania. I've been following her growth in the US closely and can only say she's always on to great things. Yeah, kiss, bow, shake hands is a good resource about cultures everywhere, including the US. Oh, that's a good one. Maybe
Ooh,
LinkedIn user, maybe you can tell us your name too. I don't know why it's showing you as LinkedIn user, but introduce yourself in the comments so we
yeah.
know yeah, who you are and where you're calling in from. I'm sure Estefania wants to know who is this secret admirer, right? Yeah. Is that the same book you were talking about, The Kiss, Bow,
No,
okay. Okay. Okay.
mine is the American ways.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and her name is Deborah Lita. I don't know
Ah,
if you
see,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so what are some of the biggest cultural differences you noticed between Brazil and the US, and were there any surprising or unexpected cultural differences? Because you said you can prepare yourself, but it's never you're never completely prepared.
Yeah. So, uh, as you always say, Nina, we here in the Bay Area is a melting pot of different cultures, right? So, um, can you hear me?
I can. I for some reason I'm frozen on the screen. So just go ahead and
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay, there I'm back. Okay, go ahead.
So, as you always says, Nina, we live in a area there is a melting pot of cultures. So I feel like some of the things that I observe not necessarily is for the whole USA, but is very for the area that we are at, right? That is very tech oriented and is a melting pot of cultures and all of that. So it's my experience here living in the US. Um, but the cultural difference that I saw is people here are very private. So even though they are friendly and they are polite, even more than in Brazil, like people chit chat, people, I don't know, say their hellos, but it's hard to deepen the relationship past the acquaintance to being friends. So people are very private and they are private, for example, with their subject. So we you don't ask normally um, private questions or personal questions. This is from upon. This is a big difference from Brazil to here. And also people don't meet up as much outside of work. So we have our coworkers or we have our networking events, but it's not as easy to grab coffee with someone. And maybe this is because I live in the suburbs in a way. I live here in Silicon Valley, that everything is so far, but I feel like people are very private and with their lives, and it's difficult to connect. Um, but one thing that I like it here is ve- everything is very organized. So normally they have process, they have rules in place. So for example, even DMV that people complain, I think that it works. But and also the part that everybody is very punctual, so they really respect people's time, and this is something that I like about living here.
Awesome.
um
Can you
yeah,
can you hear me, Estefania? Because
yes,
my
I
yeah,
can.
For some, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm frozen on video, but I'm glad my voice. No, and those are great differences that you just shared, which some of them I experienced myself. So that's really interesting, and that's why, as you said, you can never completely prepare, because also from with different countries, what you're used to over there can be very different from what is done in the US. So I'm always curious and fascinated by cultural differences, and how people adjust to them. So you shared a little bit about how you adapted to the US, but did you do anything specific to adjust to these customs and social norms in the US? Or how did you deal with them if they did interfere with what you were used to?
Hmm. So how did I adapt? I, 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 I don't like the word adapt because I feel like when you adapt, and this is a personal preference, you you miss something about yourself. You are just adapting to whatever you are. But I don't know a better word. Maybe adjust, intentionally adjust. And this is something that I've done because well, I'm a counselor, I'm a coach, I'm always self observing. So I look at the customs here, and I try to be open minded. So really try things out and see if I like it or not, and then make a choice if I want to bring that to the way that I am or not. So, for example, here in the US, people normally don't have a big lunch. In Brazil, lunch is, I think, the most important meal. People stop, people have with coworkers or with family, and then they go back to work. Here in the US, normally it's just a salad or a sandwich, and dinner is this time that you spend with friends and with loved ones. This is something that I tried. Before, I thought it was really weird to just have a sandwich and continue working, but I try it out and actually I prefer because it doesn't break your flow. Another thing is the outdoors. In Brazil, I lived in Sao Paulo, which is a huge city. So I didn't have a lot of nature. And here in California, you have all this activities that people do. So hiking, camping, going to national parks. And this is something that also I try it out. I, I like it. And then I brought it back to who I am. And I feel like this is the best way of adapting or adjusting, is not you copying and pasting whatever people do on this new place, but it's you intentionally trying new ways with openness, as we said, and then deciding if it's a good fit or not. There are things that I didn't think it was a good fit, and it's fine. I do it my Brazilian way, and it's okay.
I love that. That is great. I'm still frozen. It's so frustrating. Maybe it's the heat. I know it's going to be 104 in the Bay Area today. Maybe the heat is affecting my internet, but I could hear it all really clearly, and again, very well articulated and interesting on how, and I liked what you said. It's not about adjusting and adapting. It's again how it's really, I think a lot of inner work and mindset is also required with this, because I know people who move here from another country, and nothing in the US can ever compare with their country. And if you've made that decision to move to another country, it's really about accepting it and maybe making changes within yourself, because you can't change the country, you can't change the customs, you can't change the culture. And you've shared a little bit about your Brazilian culture and what you've been doing in the US, but are there any aspects of your Brazilian culture that you have integrated into your life in the US, and what do you miss most about Brazil?
Hmm. So about the things that I miss most, this is easy. It's the loved ones. So family and friends, like old friends. This is what I miss the most, and you can never compare. But and what are some the Brazilian aspects that I brought is I have a good Brazilian community of friends, and I try to mix that up with international folks. So I have a little bit of both. And within that community, we have some get togethers that is very much Brazilian. So listening to music, going for dancing forró, which is a traditional Brazilian dance, like salsa, but the Brazilian version of it. And also having get togethers, barbecues where we start at 1 p.m. and 9 p.m. there are still people in your house just laughing and having uh, dinner together. And this is something that I really like about my country, that I brought it back. I brought it here. uh, I think Nyna had some problems, but she'll be right back. Let's see. All right. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Who is on the chat? Nyna, if you have any questions, put it on chat and I can review them. Yeah, so how people can learn more about me? You can add me on LinkedIn. This is my name is Estefania Barsante, and also there is my website in English, which is estefania.coach. So you can put that, and we can talk some more. We can have a discovery session, and if you think I can help you in some way. Isabella said that I'm the host now. Isabella, do you want to ask a question or have a comment? So my contact information is Estefania at estefaniabarsante.com. Everything is very my name and last name. Also, if you speak Portuguese, my Instagram, I have a lot of resource there in Portuguese, which is Estefania Barsante. um, Nyna, are you coming back? I was loving our conversation. Okay, so let me see what else can I share while Nyna logs in again. Oh, what advice would you give to other Brazilians or expat considering a move to the US? What advice is being very open minded and being ready to have your expectation crushed. Because as I said, there is only so much we can prepare, and just being open minded and curious and having good humor about it really helps you adapt. Hi Nina.
I'm back. I'm so sorry, but
Yay.
I was watching it on LinkedIn because StreamYard kicked me out, and I was like, okay, she is okay. It's playing on LinkedIn now. I don't know what is going on, But go ahead and
Yeah.
share your what you was.
No, no problem. And I was reading your question that you put it on chat. Is there anything you wish you had done differently when you first moved? I think the one thing that I would do differently is started coaching in English. Uh, started coaching in English before, in a sense that it took me 3 years for me to start coaching in English because I didn't think that I was ready, but actually I was. So just putting myself out there and having this courage. Um, are any goals or dreams you have yet to achieve in your expat journey? And I think this links to the other. What are the areas you still plan to work on? So, what are things that I'm thinking, looking forward? One is, Nina, I'm hearing myself. I wonder if it's coming from a second window
Hear you,
with
but
you.
might be some microphone problems. I know when I'm actually on, I can't. I don't know if you open by any chance. Like when you read my comments, does it close your LinkedIn browser?
I don't have LinkedIn open.
Oh, you see comments.
I can't hear you. We are live, people. This is what happens when you are live.
Yeah, and it is. It's and the, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So yeah. So just answer because I don't know when I'll get kicked off again. Just with
yeah,
I know
yeah.
you're in society. Go ahead and finish the questions. I
Hmm.
typed them all. That.
So, what are areas that I still plan to work on? I want to start coaching in Spanish, which is something that I'm preparing to do. I learned Spanish as a young adult, but I never coached in Spanish, and I want to start doing that. And also having more speaking engagement, especially in English. These are two things. And a third one, because I'm always planning ahead, which is writing a book. I have two books planned out, one in Portuguese, another in English, talking about the challenges and ways that you can have expat life that is fulfilling.
Fantastic. And I'm back again. So, yeah, someone, I think it's Anne, who said, life feed bring us challenges. Yes. And that's a good technology, right? You always will have, but, just the show has to go on. And Estefania did a great job of keeping it going. I'm watching you on
Yeah, of
LinkedIn.
course.
She knows I got kicked out. She's keeping it going. And I think that's also like expat life, right? As you said, might be really prepared to adapt to the new country and then suddenly some curveballs and it doesn't go as planned and it's no longer honeymoon. So, and you have shared so much about how you dealt with, differences, with, things that you missed, but then you work around creating this new life for yourself that you have, you obviously love and, you has helped you decide and feel like you're at home in the US. And I love that you're, also with your career goals, you're writing a book, and two languages. You are also, you said, going to coach in Spanish. So it's just so inspiring. And I, like maybe you've had the same experiences where when you move to another country because you've stepped out of your comfort zone, you've had to deal with various hurdles, you've had to open your mind to new experiences. Do you think has made you not a different person, but a better version of yourself, and you're doing things you may not have done if you had stayed in Brazil? I'm just curious about that, like the career
Yeah.
path chosen and all the success you've already achieved and you plan to achieve in the future.
Hmm. So, what I think moving abroad is enhanced some qualities that I already had. So I already was entrepreneur in Brazil. I was already doing lives and doing events back in Brazil, but moving to another country, I just expanded. So doing that in a second, third language, it's something that I would never have done in Brazil because I was there in my comfort zone. Or um, meeting people daily basis is something that I wouldn't have done in Brazil because I already had these people, but I am social. So I think moving abroad was a step up in a lot of these areas and these elements that I already had within me. But one thing that really changed was feeling comfortable with not knowing, with the uncomfortable. So what happened here? Like the internet is not the best and the live is not perfect, but so what? Let's go ahead and continue the same way. First time I went to the bank or DMV, I was so afraid that I was shaking. I had to brought my husband for emotional support. So what? Let's keep on moving. So like just
Yeah.
not being scared or feeling scary because
Right.
you will feel scary. Things will mess with your confidence, with your um, how how you feel about yourself. But just keep on going. Your English is not going to be perfect, but my Portuguese is not perfect. So what? The internet doesn't is not working. So what? Let's just keep on moving and getting used to things not working out as planned. So
Right.
these two things, like the stepping up of elements of myself, but also being more lighthearted about things being imperfect and they are fine. They are
Right.
very fine.
Love that. And I'm sometimes hearing the echo. Maybe I'll mute my microphone. Yeah. Right now I have to speak. I love what you said about your fear. I think leaning into your fear and I think that's something as expats we need to do, that we will be scared, we will feel uncomfortable, we'll be imperfect, but we lean into that. I'm going to mute my microphone because I think we're hearing echo. I don't hear an echo, but who knows with this technology. Yeah. So, Mike, you are a member of the Expat Woman. I like to showcase women who are my members because we just have so many amazing women like you, Estefania. What you enjoy about being a member of the Expat Woman, and then I do, because I know we're going a little over time, but because I got kicked off in between, I'm an amazing speaker. Uh, so, what would you say to someone who wants to move to Brazil as an expat? Because I know people are all looking to move to countries. What should they keep in mind? And I'm not sure if you answer the question. What would you tell people moving to Brazil, to the US? How do people from the US or any other country prepare? Like, what's the most important to keep in mind? They move to Brazil or Brazilians moving to the US? And of course, would you like to be a member of the expat movement?
Mhm. So, talking about what I like about being part of the expat women is just the possibility of meeting other women that I wouldn't meet otherwise. So, as I said, I I really I always want to get out of my bubble, and the expat women, they have this gather of different women from all places of the world, and this is very valuable to me. And also had being able to have opportunities like this one where I can showcase myself and talk about my experience in English, because I do this a lot in Portuguese, so having a platform where I can do this in English is lovely. And some, I think the second was about advice, right, that I would give to people moving to the US or moving to Brazil. Is that it? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm. So people moving here to any country, I think, is really being intentional about it, and especially on the social part, as I said, because I do think this is the what makes the most difference in feeling like you belong. And we never done that before, because school, university, old friends, these are something that just happened to us. But when you move to another country as an adult, you have to be intentional about it. People probably won't knock in your door and ask to be friends. Well, if you move to Brazil, they will. So you won't be able to do that, because we love people from other countries and we are very welcoming. But if you don't move to Brazil, probably you need to be intentional about it. And this is something that I say a lot, because normally when we move, we take care of the urgent things, like banking, how am I going to do groceries, where I'm going to live. And these are the survivor and they are important. But the social aspect is as important as. So don't wait for it to become a problem 1 year and then you don't know anyone and then you miss. Before it becomes a problem, start getting out there, start meeting people, and then it will never be a problem. You will have your community, you will have some close friends, you will have a security network of people that you can call if you are sick. And this is something that really makes a difference. um, Pushing through your fears is so important. Thank you. I'm loving the comments.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Estefan. I go on chatting with you. You are like wealth of knowledge, and you're living, you're sharing, which it makes it so much powerful. And you were talking about the opportunities you've been with the expat woman speak in English. No one would guess that this has been part of your life forever, speaking so eloquently in English and sharing such inspiring and valuable tips. And I got a taste of that firsthand when you spoke in person at the event last month, and now here at this event. So it is very inspiring. I want to thank you for being on the show and pushing through while I disappeared. Thanks to StreamYard and the internet kicking me off. I mean, that's a lesson for everyone. You just keep pushing and just doing what you're supposed to do and sharing and crossing those hurdles and challenges, whatever they may be, as simple as interconnection. And I want to thank everyone who's joined us as well. I think this, and she says more people to join the Expat Woman, and we will transition to every country, welcome you and guide you into your new country. That's an idea. And I love this about Anne Mackey. She's always sharing new tips, suggestions for us to take the excitement to the next level. And I just love all of you members, and seeing all of you come together, even in a live stream like this, where Isabella and Anne and there were others to join. And we made sure our members on, and I appreciate. I will share the link to membership in the comments. I'll have Estefania share link to her website and anything else in the comments as well. But I've exceeded my 30 minutes, so I'm going to say thank you and bye, Estefania, and to all my guests, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Bye, Nyna.